What's up, guys? Hazyams here, and today we are going to be looking at Dragons Dogma 2. I never played the first one. I know it kind of flew under the radar from at least the information that I've found. And from the people that have played it, I feel like it was a very good game. The first one was. I unfortunately never got to play it. I'm sure there were other games that released around the same time that kind of I was focusing on. But with that said, I am really excited for Dragons Dogma 2. And we're going to be looking at IGN's preview here of the game and kind of giving my thoughts, reactions about it. And let's just kind of jump right into it here. Let's get full screen and let's go.
When it was released 11 years ago, Dragons Dogma stood out as a bold open-world RPG that didn't conform to any pre-existing mold for the genre. From its one-of-a-kind pawn mechanic that encouraged you to frequently swap out AI-controlled companions from a network populated by creations from other players, to its action-centric combat that had you climbing all over giant monsters in order to specifically target weak points and bring them down to size. There's nothing quite like it.
So that is pretty badass. I don't know if I've played a game where I can climb on enemies to hit specific areas that would do more damage or bring them to their knees. So that mechanic already, right off the bat, is something that looks pretty interesting to me. And I mean, overall, like, so far, I mean, like, just the fantasy world itself looks pretty intriguing. Let's keep going here.
Even to this day, my big takeaway after playing an hour of Dragons Dogma 2 is that Capcom is doubling down on everything that made Dragons Dogma so unique, with a big focus on refining and polishing those elements to a shine. And in that regard, they're succeeding. Pawns do pretty much everything that they did in the first game, but their contributions to both combat and navigation are much more immediately noticeable. Melee combat feels more impactful and weighty, and exploration through its now seamless open world feels equal parts rewarding and dangerous. That said, after an hour of killing the same usual Dragons Dogma rogues gallery of goblins, cyclops, saurians, harpies, bandits, and attempting the occasional griffin, I couldn't help but wish that I experienced something that truly felt new in this sequel.
See, and that right there, like, this might be a sequel, but for me, like, I never played the first one. So I don't have anything to compare it to. So, you know, he might think it's kind of stale because he played through the first one and this sounds like it's the same monster types. But for somebody like me, you know, like, I don't have any, you know, thoughts one way or the other as far as it being stale. It all looks cool to me. You know, I haven't killed anything in Dragon's Dogma, the first one. So, I mean, it does look pretty good.
My demo began right outside the human kingdom of Vermund, and gave me free reign to go wherever I wanted. I had a handful of quests I could—
Hold up. Where's my demo? I want to play the demo. Might have to look into that after this. I would be so down to play the demo. Actually, I'm going to look that up right now. Where's my Steam at? Does Steam have a demo? Now it's got me intrigued. No demo on Steam. So that kind of sucks. Alright, back to the video.
could follow, with my pawns already set with knowledge of those quests, meaning that I could simply let them lead the way and not have to deal with constantly bringing up the map and making sure that I was still on course. Pawns having experience and knowledge of quests is not new to Dragon's Dogma, and occasionally in the first game, they would lead you through some tricky to follow paths. But here in Dragon's Dogma 2, it was far more reliable. A simple press of left on the D-pad to issue a help command while out of combat was enough for my pawn to understand that I was looking for a trail to follow, and thus they would grab my attention and start leading the way once I started running towards them. The coolest interaction that I experienced with a pawn was after having cleared a cave of bandits. I noticed a treasure chest on a platform that was well out of reach. By issuing the help command though, I noticed that my fighter pawn moved herself closer to the platform, and then kneeled down like she was going to give me a
that's
boost.
pretty cool.
Sure enough, when I ran
That is pretty cool. I like that. Actually gives your companions um, something to do and gives them an important role rather than just tagging along and helping you kill the enemies you're fighting.
And over, she launched me up with the springboard skill, and I was able to collect a rare fairy stone. Very cool. Combat is largely identical to how it was in the original Dragon's Dogma. You've got a button for light attacks, a button for heavy attacks, and then by holding down the left bumper, you've got a series of 4 skills that you can equip for a variety of attacks and spells.
So let's check it out here. What do we got for combat? He said there's a heavy attack, light attack, some spells. That's I don't know since I never played the first one, but hopefully there's enough different attacks to not have the combat become stale. I don't mind if I'm killing like a ton of goblins or a bunch of harpies. I don't care if I'm killing the same enemy over and over. What really drives me away from a game or gets me bored of a game is if the combat becomes stale. So hopefully there's enough to make it fun throughout the game, like different weapon types, different spells, different attacks, and hopefully there is.
One of the big differences this time around is that the right bumper is now tied to your vocation action, which, as the name implies, is an action unique to your vocation. For fighters, their vocation action is to raise their shield and guard.
So I'm assuming vocation is, you mentioned vocation fighter. So vocation must be kind of like your class or the set of skills you have, I'm assuming.
Against enemy attacks. For thieves, they've got a quick dodge called Swift Step, and for archers, they're able to directly aim with a steady shot. New to combat is a hit stop effect that occurs when an enemy you're attacking is low on life, indicating that they're open to an execution by hitting them with a strong attack. It's a light touch, but it goes a long way in making combat feel much more brutal and impactful. It's worth noting that, like the original game, there's no melee lock-on mechanic and no dodge roll, unless it's tied to your vocation. It's a bold choice, and I have a feeling that not everyone will like it, but it does lend a very particular feel to Dragon's Dogma 2's combat. It's much less.
The fact that you can't lock onto the enemies is going to make the combat a lot more interesting and more difficult. We'll kind of see how it plays out, I guess. If they do it right, it can definitely make for some interesting battles and combat scenarios.
No melee lock-on mechanic and no dodge roll, unless it's tied to your vocation. It's a bold choice, and I have a feeling that not everyone will like it, but it does lend a very particular feel.
I mean, if you think about it, there's no dodge roll for specific classes, like a warrior with a sword and shield. It makes sense that he can't have a dodge roll. But say like an archer that we saw earlier, like I feel like an archer would be able to have a dodge roll, and the thief, of course. So I don't know. I feel like if they were gonna do that, they should have made it like specific classes don't get a dodge roll.
To Dragon's Dogma 2's combat. It's much less about split-second reflexes and fierce aggression, and much more about careful positioning, awareness of where your enemies are, relying on your pawns for support, and knowledge of how to exploit enemy weaknesses. I got to restart the demo several times in the hour or so that I got to play, and the thing that really impressed me was how different each successive run felt. One time, I walked down the same beaten path I traversed in a previous session and suddenly got attacked by a griffin. In another, I followed a quest down to a riverbank and got to fight against a handful of Saurians that I never saw anywhere else.
That's cool that each playthrough is different, so not everyone's going to have the same experience. That is awesome. I love that. That's going to be awesome. That's great, man. I like that. I like how it's not just a linear every time and it's different. That's a very nice feature.
And in another, I was guided by my pawn to a cave full of surprisingly tough bandits guarding a bunch of treasure and valuable materials, and me and my party got absolutely wrecked. But this encounter excited me because even though I was being guided by a pawn, the exploration still felt organic, and made me well aware that the world of Dragon's Dogma 2 was one full of danger and riches in equal measure, which is the heart of great exploration in video games. All that said though, there definitely was a sense of deja vu when playing.
I like that. I like how he went into that cave, and right away you could kind of tell that that cave was out of his level range. And that's the way it should be. Like, if I'm exploring and I go into this cave and I'm like, oh yeah, I'm gonna get some nice loot, some nice treasure, and they're like, oh shit, like maybe I can't be in this cave yet because I'm not powerful enough yet to take these guys on, and you're sitting there getting like 1-2 shotted and you're dead. So I like that. That's very cool. Man, this video is just getting me super excited about this game.
Playing through this demo. The skills that I used as both a fighter and a thief were almost identical to the early game skills from the first Dragon's Dogma. I didn't fight a single new enemy type, nor did I fight any of those other enemies in a way that was much different from how I'd fight them in the original game. If there's one comfort that I can have as a fan of Dragon's Dogma, it's that Dragon's Dogma 2 will offer up more of what I loved about that first game, and that many of those minor elements have been improved upon. But still, I couldn't help but wish that I walked away from my demo a little more excited about something new about the sequel.
Again, I didn't play the first one, so all of this is new to me. So I am going to have a different experience and different opinion than someone who's played the first one and it's playing, who got to play the demo, like this guy. And he's saying that a lot of it's the same with updated graphics and a few updated things that they've added.
For more on Dragon's Dogma 2, don't miss the review.
Alrighty, that looks like it's about it for that. So let's go watch just like the trailer here and see what this is about. I'm expecting the trailer to be pretty good. Oh, it's a Capcom game. I guess I didn't even realize that. Capcom puts out some good video games, that's for sure.
You do not remember? Then have you forgotten that you protected me from the dragon's flames?
You need only believe in your own destiny, Arisen.
Of course. That begs the question. If he's a mere mummer, then where might our true Arisen? Empress Nadinia's life is in your hands, Sir Arisen.
Praise be, for only the Sovereign's guidance can lead us true. Long live the Sovereign!
Oh, that was cool. Damn. If those are like actual mage spells, like holy shit. He's like calling in a meteor. Like if I can actually do this in game, I'm gonna play mage for sure. That is badass. Like holy shit. Oh damn. Medusa?
That is most unfortunate, but it doth not release thee from thy fate.
Okay, you got my attention. Man, that is like right up my alley, all fantastical and magical and knights in armor and fantasy world. Man, the game itself looks good too. I hate the motion blur, man. Get that shit out of there. Like it looks pretty good. I don't know what it was designed on. Yeah, man. I am pumped for this. To be announced. Okay. I'm gonna add it to the wish list. That way I can get updates on it. Man, I wonder if I should play the first one. It's $30. I think I might just wait for the second one. Man, the first one looks good too. Look at that boss. anyways, this video is getting a little lengthy here. Thank you guys for stopping by. Please like and subscribe. Let me know what you think about Dragons Dogma 2. Let me know if you got to play the demo and how it was. Let me know if you played the first one, Dragons Dogma, and kind of tell me down in the comments if the first one was good. It looks like I got some pretty good ratings, very positives. Metacritic even got an 81. So, I mean, sounds like the first one was a really good game. So, yeah, I'm super excited for this next one. Thanks for stopping by. Much love, guys. Have a good night or day wherever you're at in the world, and we will catch you on the next one.